Assalamu alaikum, dear students. Hopefully you are well and fine and taking good care of yourselves and everybody around you. As you already know that we are studying basically this chapter number 2 regarding software development life cycle. We are studying SDLC. So SDLC is basically a life cycle. It is a combination of different phases, different steps which are used to develop a system, a software from scratch or neither from scratch. In some cases it is developed or some features are added into the existing system or software. So in order to build or develop that system, existing system or a new system or a new software, these steps involved are defining phase, planning phase, feasibility phase, analysis phase, requirement engineering phase, design and development phase, testing and deployment phase, and maintenance phase. There are certain models in which 5 steps are involved. There are certain models in which 7 steps are involved. The model we are using is basically an elaborated model in which 10 steps are involved. Till date, till this lecture, we are basically done with some of the phases, like we are done with defining phase, we are done with planning phase, we are done with feasibility phase, and now moving on towards the analysis phase. In order to move on to this next phase or any of the next phases, you need to actually have a clear concept of the previous phases. If you got confused in the previous phases, then you would get confused in further in the coming phases too. So you should have a clarity of each and every phase in order to avoid any type of confusion. So we talked about defining phase. In defining phase, we talked about that the customers and stakeholders meetings are conducted. Stakeholders include also customers and like personnel involved, staff involved, or software development team members like system analyst or project manager or designer or developer, etc. So they conduct a meeting with the customer. Customer is that person who actually wants to get developed a system or a software. So he comes to a software development house or he comes to a software development company and he places an order. He tells his requirements, that what he wants to get developed from this team, what are his expectations from the software development team, what type of software or system he wants to get developed. So he tells his requirements to the software development team members, and they note down his requirements, that what does he want, what type of software or system actually he wants. So they note down his requirements, they create a document at that stage, and that document has all the requirements of the customers listed inside it, and they get approved that document from the customer in order to avoid any later confusions. So each and every step has a certain deliverable which is produced at the end of that phase or step. So in this phase, in this defining phase where the requirements of the customer are defined and listed inside that document, so the deliverable of that phase is basically that document which consists of the requirements of the customer. So later on we studied the planning phase. In planning phase, actually now the planning phase is all about planning being done by the project manager. Now the planning phase is actually in the hands of the software development team members, in which they sit down together, especially the project manager, who is overall the manager, who is overall managing the project, who would be the head of the project. So he sits down with system analyst or other necessary team members, other personnel or staff, and he plans certain things, like he plans what type how much budget they would need. He plans the budget, he plans the cost, he plans the personnel or staff or experts required in order to develop that system or software from scratch. He plans the deadlines, the schedule, the timetable, the milestones, etc., etc. So he plans certain things. He also plans the alternatives or solutions. If one plan fails, plan A fails, then what other plan they would be able to use. So they plan certain alternatives or solutions, like plan A, plan B, plan C, or strategy 1, strategy 2, strategy 3, or etc. If plan A gets failed, plan B would be used. If plan B gets failed, plan C would be used. So they actually plan certain strategies or alternatives in order to avoid risks, in order to avoid emergency situations. So all the planning happens in the planning phase. Now it is just this phase is all about planning on document. Software or the system has not yet been in the development phase. It has not got started. The planning phase is just all about planning. The things are getting planned by the project manager on paper. So the deliverable of this phase is basically the project proposal, a project charter, in which the project manager is has mentioned or proposed all the things relevant to cost or personnel, budget, time limit, schedule, etc., etc. Now in the feasibility phase, the system analyst, a software team member, system analyst is also a stakeholder, is also a software development team member. So the system analyst in this phase is going to analyze the strengths and weaknesses of that proposed charter. The charter which was planned and proposed, which was prepared in the planning phase, is now being assessed by the system analyst for the strengths and weaknesses in this feasibility stage. So that system analyst is going to assess the strengths and weaknesses, is going to give the directions for the activities which are going to happen in the feasibility stage. But most important thing is that the system analyst is basically going to analyze these strengths and weaknesses of the proposed project in order to develop that system or software on the basis of certain criteria. He would be analyzing and assessing the strengths and weaknesses from different 5 angles, like from technical angle, from operational angle, from he is going to see the operational feasibility, technical feasibility, economical feasibility, time schedule feasibility, and things like that. Now moving on towards our today's main objective, and that is, as we are already done with defining, planning, and feasibility phase, our today's main objective is to cover this phase called as analysis phase. When feasibility phase is completely done by the system analyst, now the next phase which would take place is the analysis phase. So today we are going to study this analysis phase, the concepts of analysis phase. So analysis phase, as its name is indicating, as the name indicates, something to do with analysis. Now analysis of what? Analysis of existing system would take place in this phase. Now what type of existing system we are talking about? As we have already talked about this concept, that the customer actually comes to the software development team and he places his requirements, that what type of system or software he wants to get developed. Either he wants to get developed a new software or system from scratch, or either he wants to get some added features into an existing system. Means he wants to upgrade an existing system. So whether he wants to get upgraded an existing system, or either he wants to get developed a new software system from scratch. In both of the cases, the software development team would analyze the existing system which is already installed in the organization of that customer, which is already installed on the computers of that customer's organization. So they would analyze the existing system which is already working inside that customer's organization. In analysis phase, the system analyst and the other team members, when they would analyze the existing system which is already installed inside customers organization, when they would analyze that system, they would try to identify the improvements inside that existing system, that existing system needs improvements or not, and what type of improvements actually that already existing system needs. So they would develop certain possible solutions. They would plan a new system demanded by the customer, or they would plan new features if the customer wants to upgrade an existing system. So they would work on the development of possible solutions, possible alternatives for the new system, for that system or software which they are developing on the order of that customer, on the demand of that customer. So basically, what actually happens in the analysis phase, we would discuss that in detail. So during the analysis phase, the project team determines, analyzes, or assesses the end user requirements. Now this is very important concept. Who is an end user? You need to understand that there is a huge difference between an end user and a customer. Now you would be confused that the order or the demand for a newly developed system was actually placed by the customer. Customer actually wanted a new system or an existing system to get upgraded. Now who is that end user? If the customer placed the order for a new system, actually customer places the demand or order in order to get a new system developed by the software development team. But end user is that person who would be using that system at the end of the day. I can give you an example. Suppose I'll give you an example of your web portal, college's student web portal, institution's student web portal. So you can understand that clearly that that web portal was actually developed by some software development team, by some software development house. So the institution, the college placed the order, placed the demand to some software house. Now in this case, the institution is the customer, because the institution placed the order or demand for the development of this web portal. So the institution is the customer in this case, while when that software development team or that software development house developed that web portal and implemented that web portal into colleges or institutions infrastructure, they implemented that web portal and they activated that web portal. Now you people, students and faculty and admin staff and exam cell, now all of these are the end users. Institution was the customer because they got that web portal software or system developed by placing the order. Now you are the end user because on institution's behalf, on institution's permission, you are using that web portal. You are the end user. You are the user of that web portal or system or software. So During the analysis phase, the project team determines, the software project team members determine or analyze or they assess the end user requirements. Means in the first step, in the defining phase, they actually took the requirements, they noted the requirements of the customer. But now in analysis phase, they are assessing or they are determining or they are analyzing the requirements of the end user. They are not talking about the customer, but now they are considering, determining, analyzing and assessing the requirements of the end user. They are actually taking a keen interest. They are analyzing that proposed plan from the user's perspective, from the end user's perspective, that what would happen then that end user would be using that system. What would happen in that case? So they are thinking from an end user's mind. So often this is done with the assistance of client focus groups, which provide an explanation of their needs and what their expectations are for the new system and how it will perform. So they actually try to note down the expectations or reactions of the end user, and they actually conduct certain systematic interviews, and they conduct certain discussions with the end users that what actually they want. But this actually interviewing and observations and talking with the end users actually happens basically in the requirement engineering phase. But in this phase, you can remember that the software development team is going to determine or analyze or assess the end user requirements too. So in this phase, the in charge of the project team, like the project manager, must decide whether the project should go ahead with the available resources or not. That project should go ahead with the available resources like available staff members, available experts, available machinery, available hardware, available devices, available softwares, off-the-shelf tools, available time or available cost or budget or not. So the project manager is going to decide that the proposed project should be started, the development of proposed project should be started with all of these available things or not. All of these available things like staff, machinery, hardware, software, time and cost would be enough for starting that proposed project or not. So an analysis strategy is developed to guide the project team's efforts. Such a strategy usually includes an analysis of the current system. As I told you earlier, that the current system, the existing system which is already working, which is already installed inside the customer's organization, that existing or current system would be actually monitored or would be actually analyzed. So such a strategy usually includes an analysis of the current or existing system, also called the as-is system. As-is system means the system which is already implemented or currently working or is already existing inside the customer's organization and its problems. And such a strategy can also include ways to design a new system called the to be system. To be system means the system which is going to be designed, which is going to be developed. Means the project team investigates any current or existing systems, identifies improvement opportunities that if an existing system is working inside the customer's organization, so that existing system can be improved or not. So they would find any improvement opportunities that existing system can be improved. Is there any opportunity lying there in order to improve that system or not. They would analyze that existing system can be improved or not. Certain features can be added inside that existing system or not, and develops a concept for the new system. That team would firstly, they would investigate the current or existing system inside the customer's organization. They would try to investigate and identify if that current or existing system can be improved, it has got some improvement opportunities or not, and then they would develop a concept. On the basis of these findings, they would develop a concept for the new system. That new system which the customer actually wants to get developed, or for which the customer placed an order or demand. So system analysis is intended to provide the project team with a more thorough understanding of the problems and needs that triggered the project. So analysis phase is all about analyzing or understanding the problems of the existing system already working inside the customer's organization. They would try to understand that what was the need that triggered the customer's organization, that triggered their need, that triggered the need for a new system. So the analysis phase answers the questions of who will use the system. This phase answers these questions, that who will use the system, who is the end user, what the system will do, what that system newly developed system or newly developed software will do, and where and when that newly developed software system will be used. So analysis is also looking at the existing system to see what and how it is doing its job. I'm giving again that example of your college's web portal system. So the analysis phase must have answered the question that who will use the system. In your case, students and faculty and the staff, administrative staff and the exam cell are using that newly developed web portal system. What the system is doing, this web portal system is basically serving, is assisting you in your studies. Like teachers can upload their stuff like notes, their lectures, they can assign you with assignments, they can talk to you, they can SMS you, you can see the notifications, your attendance would be available there, they can take your attendance and things like that. The system is doing all these things for the faculty, for the students. And if we talk about this question like where and when that newly developed system will be used, if in your case the web portal, newly developed web portal system is being used inside this college's or institution's environment. So analysis is looking at is also about looking at the existing system to see what and how it is doing its job. The project team asks the following questions during the analysis phase. They are not asking these questions from the customer. They are discussing these questions among the team members, like project managers is discussing these questions with the system analyst, with other software development team members. So certain questions would be analyzed during this analysis phase. The project team asks the following questions during the analysis phase, like number 1, can the proposed software system be developed with the available resources as talked earlier? They would ask this question, they would analyze, the project manager is going to analyze this question that the proposed charter, the proposed system can be developed with the available resources, with the available staff, available machinery, available hardware, software, time, cost and budget. Will this system, the proposed system, the proposed software, will this proposed software system significantly improve the organization? Will this system or software significantly going to improve the organization. Here it means that proposed system would ultimately improve the organization's reputation if the software development organization, if they would be able to successfully complete this proposed software or proposed system. Would that increase their reputation? That would be good for their reputation or not? That would be a benefit to the organization. That would increase their name in the market. That would increase their goodwill in the market or not? That would increase their customer base or not? It would attract more customer towards their organization or not? So they will analyze or assess all these factors, that how this proposed software or proposed system is going to affect the organization. It would increase the reputation of the organization, or it would decrease the reputation of the organization. It would be beneficial for the organization or not. So they are going to analyze this question mark. They would also analyze another question, that does the existing system even need to be replaced or not? That is a very important question. As told you earlier, that in analysis phase, project team members, software project team members, the software project organization, the software development organization is going to analyze the existing or currently installed system at the customer's organization. They are going to analyze that existing system, that existing system, at least that existing system even needs to be replaced or not. If that existing system is working properly, that means that existing system does not need to be replaced. So they would analyze that, does the existing system need to be replaced or not? If yes, that existing system has got older, has got older feature, you can say that non-existing features, or such features which are not working properly in today's environment. So if yes, that existing system needs replacement, then they would analyze that what loopholes or what deficiencies are existing, what deficiencies are there in that currently installed system, in that currently existing system. What deficiencies are there in that currently installed system? So they would try to highlight those deficiencies. They would try to highlight those missing things. They would try to analyze the opportunities there, improved opportunities, that what is the loophole, what is the actually gap existing there. So these most important questions would be analyzed in the analysis phase. In system analysis, the developers decide a roadmap. That is a very important concept, that the developers decide a roadmap of their proposed plan, and they would try to bring up the best system or best software development models suitable for the project. Now here you need to understand the thing is that the developers would first of all try to develop a roadmap for that proposed plan. Roadmap means that what would be the activities which would require in order to develop that proposed system or software. Another thing is that the developers or the project manager, they would try to finalize a certain model. As I told you earlier that in order to develop a system or software, certain models exist. Like in order to develop a software, there is waterfall model, there is agile model, there is iterative model, there is scrum model. So there are different types of models in order to develop a system or software. So they would actually choose, they would pick one specific model which would suit their needs, which would suit the needs of their project. So they analyze a set of business analysis models, which describe how the business will operate if the new system is developed, how the business of that developing organization, software developing organization would operate if that new system is developed. These set of models typically include models that represent the data and processes necessary to support the underlying business process. So system analysis includes understanding the limitations of proposed system or proposed software. That is very, very important concept. That system analysis includes understanding the limitations of software. Means system analysis is basically telling the scope of that proposed software or proposed system. Actually, scope means what are the limitations of that software or system. So system analysis includes understanding the limitations of software product or system under development. System analysis includes learning the system related problems. As told you earlier, the problems lying in the existing or currently installed system in customer's organization, what improvements lie there. So system analysis includes learning the system related problems, learning the changes to be done in the existing system beforehand. Means what are the deficiencies or gaps which exist in the existing or currently installed system inside the customer's organization. System analysis also includes identifying and addressing the impact of project on organization. Now this is very important thing. We have discussed it earlier that identifying and addressing the impact of project on organization was already analyzed by the project manager when he asks that question, when he discusses that question with his team members, that will this system significantly improve the organization's reputation, will significantly improve the organization's customer base and the market demand, etc. So system analysis includes identifying and addressing the impact of project on organization, that it would increase the reputation or decrease the reputation, it would have a positive impact or negative impact on the organization. The system analysis also includes it also analyzes the scope of the project. Scope of the project means the limitations of the project, and the system analysis also includes planning the schedule and resources accordingly. So these certain sentences which I currently spoke, these are very, very important. These are basically telling you the summary of the analysis phase. That the analysis phase, the developers develop or decide a roadmap for their proposed plan or for their proposed system, for their proposed software, and the developers choose the best development model as per the requirements of their proposed project or software. System analysis includes understanding the scope or limitations of that proposed product or software under development. System analysis includes learning the system related problems, identifying the system related problems, like learning the changes to be done in existing system, that currently existing system needs improvement or not. Currently existing system at the customer's organization has certain deficiencies. What are these deficiencies? And system analysis would help the analysts to actually identify the improvements, identify those deficiencies in the existing system, so that deficiencies can be covered, those deficiencies can be removed in the newly proposed system. That newly developed system, in that newly developed system, those deficiencies would not be again repeated. So system analysis also includes identifying and addressing the impact of that proposed project on the organization in terms of its reputations and goodwill and etc. So I'm continuing with the summary of analysis stage. that it is a study and an analysis of the current or existing system, in which the developers would try to understand system analyst would try to understand the old or current or already installed system in customers' organization. They would try to collect the facts. They would try to collect the deficiencies, gaps, or facts from the existing users, from the existing system. System analyst basically collects the facts from the existing users. Existing systems, limitations, and details are studied and analyzed. Another thing is that in this phase, identification happens, identifying that how the old or current system can be improved. Approach of the users is taken into consideration, and this phase also uses different data gathering techniques. In this phase, development of specification occurs, means developing the specifications for the new system. The system analysts, the project managers, they would sit down and they would develop the specifications for the new system. They would first of all analyze the current or existing system. They would collect the facts, deficiencies, and gaps from the existing system. They would collect the facts from the end users, those users which are already using that existing system, old system inside that customer's organization. System analyst and project manager would also study or analyze the limitations and details or scope of that existing system. They would also identify how the current or old system or existing system can be improved, keeping in view the deficiencies and gaps. They would also study or analyze the project manager and the system analyst and team members, they would develop the specifications for the new proposed system, for the new proposed software, that what are the possible solutions, what deficiencies or gaps should not be repeated in this new proposed system or project. They would make sure that the deficiencies which occurred, the problems, the deficiencies, limitations which occurred in the existing system, in the old system of that customer's organization, those deficiencies, those problems, those things should not be repeated in the newly developed proposed system, newly developed in the new proposed software which is under development. So they would define the objectives of that new proposed system, new proposed software, and they would define the system objectives. They would define the priorities of the user's requirements. They would basically the system analyst approaches the end user to find out what they want from the new system. As the end user has used the existing system inside customers' organization, so they would basically know that what they want, what are the shortcomings of the existing system and what they want in the new system. So the analysts would use different data gathering techniques such as interviews, observations, and surveys, and we would discuss these observations, interviews, and surveys thing in data gathering requirement engineering phase. Although gathering requirements is the main it comes after the analysis phase, there are other important activities during this phase, like the project team creates an optional document that helps transition from the analysis phase to the more technical and detailed design phase. This document is called as a conceptual system design, provides client feedback into many of the ways that the final solutions will be implemented. So this feedback includes much of the look and feel of the final solution. So what are the deliverables? What are the key deliverables of this phase? In this phase, a business requirement document, a software requirement specification document would be prepared. As told you earlier, that the system analyst and the project manager, the other team members, would develop specifications for the new system, for the new proposed system, for the new proposed software. So they would develop these specifications. So in response, when they would develop these specifications, they would develop those specifications in the form of a software requirement specification document. They would note down all these specifications in the form inside that document. Another deliverable is that a data flow diagram of the existing system, of the already installed system inside the customer's organization. A data flow diagram of that system would be created, and things like that. So the main deliverable of this analysis phase is software requirement document. An example from your book, that suppose the student's examination system development project is going to be actually implemented in the institution or college, and under the development, in its development phase, the student examination system is analyzed for development. The project team will visit the college, as your college is the customer organization, because they have placed the order for a new system to get developed. So that software development team would visit the college in order to study the existing or already installed system inside the college, and they will suggest the possible improvements. After that, they would start working on the new proposed system or project. So dear students, that is the end of this analysis phase. Hopefully you have got the concepts. In order to, I'm telling you again and again, in order to grasp the concept of the coming phases, you need to have a clear understanding of the previous phases. So you need to listen to the previous phases or steps of software development life cycle again and again, and this is a finish point for today, and we are done for today. Thank you for your patience, for your listening. Inshallah, in our next class, we would be starting with our requirement engineering phase. Till then, Allah Hafiz.